My magnificent Leo, welcome back to Cosmic Wisdom. You might believe you've stumbled upon these words by chance today, a random video in your feed. But in truth, your soul, that brilliant, royal part of you, scheduled this divine appointment a long time ago. It is no accident that you are here. This is a cosmic summons. It is a sign that a long, arduous chapter, a battle for your own light, has finally come to a victorious end. One door, a heavy, shadow door, to a past where you felt unseen and unappreciated, has quietly closed for good. And another, a grand golden gate, shimmering with the reward you have so bravely earned, is now waiting for you to walk through. Before I reveal the incredible truth of what is happening in your life, I invite you to do something truly powerful. Take a deep, majestic breath and let your beautiful, generous heart unclench. Let it rest, as if it had never been wounded by indifference, as if it had never been bruised by a love that was too small for it. Because what is about to be revealed is not just a story about a person or a situation that once tried to harm you. This is the story of you, a sovereign soul that has lived for too long in the shadows of others. And now, it is time for your coronation. But what would happen if you truly answered that call? My beloved Leo, that shadow, that jealous force, the person or energy that once tried to manipulate your reality and siphon your brilliant light. That energy has fallen. It has been vanquished. That karmic rivalry is over. No more feeling that drain on your energy every time you step into the spotlight. No more feeling that subtle, toxic envy clinging to you when you succeed. And the miracle, my friend, the truly breathtaking miracle, is that the very moment that shadow dissipated, your soul began to shine again. It was the first true, full wattage breath of creative fire after a long, dark night of suppression. Stay with me for just a moment more, and you will understand why every challenge, every moment you felt misunderstood, has led you to this precise point of glorious triumph. Have you ever felt it? That subtle campaign to undermine you, an undercurrent of envy you couldn't quite name but could feel in your royal heart. A pattern of being overlooked or having your ideas claimed by others. A haunting that made you question your own brilliance. I am here today to tell you, with all the certainty of the cosmos, you are not imagining it. You were once caught in an invisible power play, woven from someone else's insecurity, their fear, and their deep-seated envy of your natural radiance. And I need you to hear this loud and clear. You did nothing wrong. You just had too much light. Your presence was too magnificent. Your heart was too generous. And that kind of authentic, solar power makes fractured, insecure souls deeply uncomfortable. They have only two choices: step back and applaud, or try to tear you down from the throne they feel you don't deserve. They tried, and they failed. Today, I am not here to relive the pain of the battle. I am here to begin a sacred ceremony with you, a ritual of reclamation, a coronation of your true self, back in the throne room of your soul, reclaiming the magnificent light you have always carried but once had to dim just to keep the peace. Stay with me, because in the next few moments, I will guide you through a door where you no longer have to live in fear of being too much. A door that leads to a new life where you can hold your head high, your crown firmly in place, and begin again, not from a place of naivety, but from a place of unshakable, heart-centered power. If you truly believe you have endured not because you are weak, but because you are a sovereign soul chosen for a magnificent destiny, I want you to make a royal decree. Leave a declaration of your power beneath this video. Type, "My coronation has begun," And if by the end of our journey today, you feel lighter, more powerful, or simply seen in all your glory, I invite you to come back. Leave a lion emoji, a feeling, or share this message with another Leo who also needs to be reminded of their light. And please gently click the channel subscription button to join the Cosmic Wisdom community. My sweet, magnificent Leo, there are things you have courageously endured in this life without ever letting the world see the true weight on your royal shoulders. Quiet heartbreaks from those who couldn't match your loyalty. Unanswered questions about why your grand gestures were met with so little. A deep, inner world of passion and creativity that often felt too vast for the small stages you were offered. Others may only see a confident, charismatic, and radiant Leo who loves the spotlight. They don't know. They don't know how many times you have been the sun in everyone else's solar system, warming them, encouraging them, while your own inner fire was running low. They have no idea how many times you've stood on a stage, smiling for the crowd, while inside you just wanted one person, just one, to ask, "But how is your heart really?" Leo, you do not love halfway. When you love with the fiery loyalty of a lioness protecting her pride. When you give from the magnificent, overflowing generosity of your heart, holding nothing back. And because of that, you are more vulnerable to the specific pain of not being seen, of not being appreciated than any other sign. And this world, my friend, is often not courageous enough to celebrate a heart as big and brilliant as yours. You may have asked, I live with such warmth and generosity, so why am I met with coldness or envy? I love so fiercely, so why am I taken for granted? But you know what? A star must first gather its fire in the darkness before it can illuminate a galaxy, and your heart is growing more powerful through every crack of disillusionment. Leo, you are not just a symbol of confidence. You are the heart of the zodiac. You are the central sun, the soul where creative fire is born and gifted to the world. And because of that, you carry the most profound power of all, the power of joyful creation. You are the one who reignites hope in a world drowning in cynicism. In a society chasing empty status, you are the one who remembers what truly matters: passion, play, and wholehearted love. You don't just build empires, you build kingdoms of the heart. You don't crave empty admiration, you inspire genuine devotion. If today you feel that no one understands the scale of your dreams or the depth of your heart, remember this: you don't need to be fully understood to be magnificent. You just need to be truly, authentically you. Be the first person to applaud yourself. Be the first to anoint yourself with honor. Be the sun that shines for its own glorious sake, instead of waiting for someone else to recognize your light. You once tried to please everyone. You tried to be the gravitational center for relationships that were already flying apart. But dear one, you were not born to carry the weight of other people's orbits. You were born to be your own solar system, radiant, creative, and gloriously real. But to return to that sovereignty, you must sometimes walk through the hall of mirrors of your past, see the distorted reflections for what they are, and shatter them. I don't need you to be strong right now. I just invite you to be radiant. Breathe deeply. Breathe as if, for the first time, you are allowing your light to fill the entire room without apology. Breathe as if you are placing a final, triumphant exclamation mark at the end of what no longer serves your reign, and beginning a new chapter where you can show up in your full, dazzling, unashamed glory. Leo, you may have walked for a time in the shadows of others, and you may have forgotten the true brightness of your own star. But that light didn't disappear. It was only waiting for you to remember your own magnificence. Imagine yourself sitting on a golden throne in a quiet room. Place your hand on your heart and ask, "What am I truly living for?" If the answer is love, joy, creativity, and passionate self-expression, then you have never, ever lost your way. And those very values are now a powerful magnet, guiding you toward a light, a stage, a kingdom you have never touched before. You may not fit in everywhere. You were never meant to. A lion does not concern itself with the opinions of sheep. You belong on the stage of life, in the hearts of those who are brave enough to love your fire, and at the center of your own creative universe. And if the space you are in makes you shrink, give yourself permission to make a grand exit. No explanation needed. No apology required. The sovereignty of your soul matters more than anything. And now, you will see why the universe has been holding back the rewards that are truly worthy of your greatness. Leo, have you ever given your heart, your loyalty, your light to someone who never truly celebrated you? Have you ever continued to shine your warmth on a situation that was cold and barren, just because your generous heart didn't want to give up on it? That is not weakness, my friend. That is royal generosity. And the world needs more courageous hearts like yours, now more than ever. And because you have done that, because you have chosen magnanimity over pettiness, a truly magnificent spiritual gift is now being prepared just for you. But the first person you must royally pardon is yourself. Forgive yourself for staying on a stage that was too small. Forgive yourself for giving your light to those who lived in shadow. Forgive yourself for once believing you had to shrink to be loved. You are worthy of a great love, a love that celebrates your fire. You are worthy of a loyal court that honors your reign. You are worthy of a kingdom where you can finally exhale and express your full, glorious self without fear of judgment. Leo, you are the symbol of the heart's courage. And like the sun that rises each morning after the darkest night, you too are rising, ready to release what no longer reflects your light. And then one morning, you will wake up and you will feel it. You will feel as light and as powerful as a new day dawning. You are the one who warms the coldest hearts. You are the one who stands beside someone when they have lost all hope, and with your presence alone, reminds them of their own spark. That is a gift. That is your power, and you don't need to do anything more to prove it. If you do just one thing for yourself today, let it be this: write yourself a royal decree. Not to blame, not to explain, but to look back at the journey and say, I have walked a long and noble path, and I am proud of the sovereign soul I have become. Leo, you are being reborn, not because of someone else, but because of you. The generosity you gave, the creativity you held on to, the courage you kept offering. It is all returning to you now, amplified 1,000 times. If today you still feel the sting of not being seen, that is perfectly fine, because healing for a Leo is a creative process. It is a recasting of your own life story. One day, you feel a little more confident. One night, your dreams are epic and inspiring. One morning, you wake up and your heart feels less heavy and more radiant. Little by little, you are being recrowned. And if you wish, write something in the comments below. A dream you are claiming, an affirmation of your worth, a creative idea too brilliant to name, because what you share might become the spotlight for another Leo, lost in the wings and waiting for their cue. Leo, you are not alone, and you have never truly lost your light. It is just now that your light is coming home to you, not dim and flickering, but brilliant, dazzling, and as magnificent as you are. And the moment you let yourself touch that light again is the moment you step onto a new stage of your journey, a stage not everyone gets the chance to command. Leo, perhaps you haven't fully realized this yet, but the fact that you are still here, still creating, still loving with your whole heart, still shining, is a glorious signal from the universe that you have passed the ultimate test. Not everyone keeps a generous heart after it has been taken for granted. Not everyone still believes in grand love after experiencing a small one. And not everyone has the courage to keep stepping into the spotlight while carrying the private wounds of a performer's heart. But you, Leo, you did. You don't need to stand on a stage to be seen. Your energy commands the room. You don't need to shout to be recognized. Your presence is a statement, because the nature of the sun is that it shines effortlessly and powerfully. And the sun inside you is beginning to speak again, not to be noticed, but to create your world and to inspire the souls around you. Some blessings don't arrive in quiet, subtle packages for you, Leo. They arrive as a grand opportunity that seems to fall from the heavens. They come as a burst of creative energy so powerful you have to act on it. They come as a wave of recognition and applause that you didn't even seek. They come as a ray of golden sunlight, breaking through the clouds just when you started to lose faith in your own shine. Dear Leo, not all rewards come as money or a title, though those may come too. But there is one kind of reward that if you recognize it, your life will never be the same. There is a reward called creative freedom. There is a reward called liberation from the need for external validation. There is a reward called becoming the king or queen of your own life without fear of judgment. The universe owes you nothing, but because you have given more warmth than you received, because you have kept your inner fire burning even when the world tried to extinguish it, now you are stepping into a time when everything you once generously planted will begin to grow into a magnificent kingdom. You may not see the full harvest immediately, but I believe if you sit still for a moment, you will feel it. A new, grander life is taking shape in your heart. Imagine your soul not as a calm lake, but as a brilliant, central sun. For a long time, it may have been obscured by clouds of doubt and the shadows of others. But now, those clouds are parting. And as your sun begins to shine in its full glory, it doesn't just reflect light, it radiates it. And all the planets, the opportunities, the people, the resources begin to arrange themselves in a perfect, harmonious orbit around you. That is your reward. It doesn't need to be chased. It only needs your radiance to be unleashed. It doesn't need your demands. It only needs your joyful, creative expression. Leo, the universe is returning to you what you once so generously gave, but in a higher, more glorious form. Not the same kind of love that made you feel small, but a great love that celebrates your magnificence and adds to your shine. Not a fleeting opportunity for applause, but a true throne of influence, where your unique gifts can be shared with the world, and in that radiance, a truth is waiting for you to reclaim it. The most sacred reward doesn't come just to make you happy. It comes to help you remember who you are, so that you no longer measure yourself by the applause you didn't get, but by the magnificent, unshakable light you refused to let die. Astrology calls this the cycle of sovereign reclamation for Leo. When you have completed the lessons of the heart, of generosity, and of self-worth, you begin to enter a stage of solar convergence. This is the time when you no longer need to search for the spotlight. The spotlight finds you. And what's right for you might just be a soul, a royal consort you were once bonded with from long, long ago, who is now ready to rule beside you. No more chasing, only radiant, magnetic attraction. Leo, if you find yourself attracting admiring new people, golden opportunities appearing out of nowhere, and the world seeming to conspire in your favor, know that it is not luck, it is the law of resonance. As you have healed your heart and reclaimed your throne on the inside, everything on the outside must now shift to reflect your new royal frequency. And if lately you've felt the way being cleared, when old, draining situations suddenly end, when relationships that made you feel small suddenly don't matter anymore, when you breathe deeply and no longer feel the need to explain your shine to anyone, then that is the sign. You are stepping into a new field of energy. You don't have to prove anything anymore. You don't have to hold on to a past that didn't celebrate you. You only need to live true to your magnificent soul. Because the true reward is to reign as you truly are. Ask yourself, if I were not afraid of being rejected or seen as arrogant, what would I create? If I were no longer bound by the memory of being unappreciated, who would I become? If I believed, with all my heart, that I was worthy of a kingdom, what would I allow into my life? Write it down. Don't hesitate, because those answers are the royal decrees you are now sending to the universe. Leo, have you ever wished that someone could just understand your grand heart without you having to shrink it down for them? That there was a stage big enough for your dreams? That there was someone who could simply look at you and already know that behind your brilliant smile, you were longing to be truly, deeply celebrated? All those if-only wishes are being rewritten into reality, not in the way you expected, but in the way your royal heart truly needs, because you deserve it. A life that needs no apology, a love that is a celebration, a journey where every step feels like a triumphant return to your throne. Receive your reward with open arms, not with doubt, but with the radiant gratitude of a monarch accepting their crown. Gratitude for not allowing your heart to become hard. Gratitude for still believing in great love. Gratitude for still keeping a generous spirit in a sometimes small world. Dear Leo, if you are still listening, I believe your reward has already begun to manifest within you. Someone is thinking of you with admiration in their eyes. A golden door is preparing to open just as you stopped pushing on it. A small miracle is forming in a place you're unaware of. And if something inside you is roaring with life, write it down. A short line, an affirmation, one thing you are grateful for today. Share it with the world, not for recognition, but so that your magnificent light may multiply when it is given. Leo, the reward is coming. And this time, you don't have to do anything but be yourself. Just keep creating. Just keep loving big. Just be present with all the warmth and courage you have held on to. But before you receive what you truly deserve, maybe you need one last time to look back at all you've walked through with pride. Leo, if you ever lived through days where the world felt too small, even when no one was holding you back, if you ever sat alone at night, unable to cry because your heart was too proud and too strong, if you ever walked away from someone, not because you stopped loving them, but because you refused to forget the love you owed yourself, then please let me say this from the heart. Not one of your generous acts was wasted. Not one flicker of your creative fire was meaningless. Every time you chose magnanimity instead of revenge, Every time you chose encouragement, instead of criticism, you are quietly seeding the universe with your golden light. I don't believe in empty promises. I believe in souls like yours, still shining steadfastly among the ruins of disappointment. I believe in the light within you, even if it's been denied too many times. I believe that the universe doesn't side with the loudest voices, but with the hearts most loyal to their own radiant nature. You may have walked into a room and no one looked up. No one asked about the brilliant idea you had, but you stayed. You shared your warmth. You listened. You opened your heart, even though it had cracks. And what makes you extraordinary is not that you never fell from grace, but that you always got back up, more glorious than before. Leo, you have lived in the supporting role long enough. You've played the strong one for so long that you forgot you too deserve to be supported, to be celebrated. Now is the time. The universe is beginning to whisper to you, not with sound, but with glorious synchronicities, an unexpected promotion, a creative project getting funded, a look of pure, unadulterated admiration from a stranger. This isn't luck. This is a response. The universe is returning the fragments of golden light you once so generously gave away. And if you wonder why, I want you to know this. You weren't chosen for this path because you were the strongest. You were chosen because among all the souls who were tempted by the darkness of ego and bitterness, you were one of the few who never let it extinguish your heart's warmth. You may have thought, maybe I wasn't good enough, so that great love didn't stay. But the truth is, some things leave, not because you lack worth, but because you are being prepared for what truly matches your magnificence. The relationships that hurt you came to show you the parts of you that needed to learn to receive, not just give. The missed opportunities came to teach you that you deserve to own the stage, not just audition for it. Leo, you don't need to shrink yourself to keep a small love. You are the sun, and the sun never has to apologize for being brilliant. Today, if you still feel an empty corner in your heart, I want you to place your hand on that heart and make this decree. I deserve to be loved with a fire that matches my own. I deserve to be chosen for the queen or king that I am. I deserve to exist in this life simply because I am magnificent. You have sacrificed enough. You have understood enough. You have been generous enough. And now you no longer need to prove anything. The planets are moving. Jupiter, the great bestower of gifts and expansion, is preparing to shower your life with blessings. The sun, your magnificent ruler, is aligning to empower your truest self. Everything is being rearranged, not just to reward you, but to return to you the kingdom that always belonged to you, but which you first had to grow into. Dear Leo, love will return, but this time it no longer comes to test you, it comes to celebrate you. Success will arrive, not because you pushed yourself harder than anyone, but because you are now aligned with your true, joyful purpose. And the real light, the spotlight of the universe, will return, not through applause from others, but through a deep, unshakable peace in your own heart, through a creative idea that flows through you like divine fire, through a stranger looking at you and smiling, as if they have been waiting for your reign to begin for a very long time. Leo, a karmic reward is approaching, not quiet and gentle, but glorious and grand, like the first roar of a lion who has finally claimed its kingdom. If you want to do something right now, write down something you thought you had lost, your creative spark, your trust in love, your crown, and whisper to the universe, if this belongs to my kingdom, I call it back to me now, in its right time and its most glorious form. You don't need to scream. You only need to radiate with deep, royal gratitude. The universe is not deaf to your power. You only need to be honest with it. You only need to be willing to open your heart to receive. Dear Leo, you have come so far without anyone knowing the true courage of your journey. You have loved so deeply without needing a title. You have been generous beyond measure without ever being thanked enough. And because of that, the universe is rewriting your story, not in the way you expected, but in the way your magnificent heart truly deserves. I know there may still be a question lingering in you, like a small thorn in your royal heart. Why did that happen to me? I lived with such a generous spirit. I loved with my whole being. So why was I the one left on a cold stage? Maybe you didn't ask it out loud. Maybe you didn't let them see you cry. But I know you've felt that ache in the middle of a perfectly ordinary day, just because of an envious glance, just because of a dream that felt too big, or just because you gave your all to keep someone who, deep down, you knew could never match your fire. And if right now there's still a place in your heart that feels the chill of that old stage, I invite you to pause, take a deep breath, not to hold it all in, but to return to your throne and listen to this as if your soul has waited an entire lifetime to hear it. You were not hurt because you were weak or too much. You were challenged because you are strong enough to hold an immense amount of light, and that light illuminates the shadows in others. I have listened to so many stories from Leo hearts. They all carry a strange, common trait: generous to the point of being taken for granted, confident to the point of being called arrogant by the insecure, and loyal to a fault, to the point no one suspects their own private heartbreaks. But because you are so radiant, you become a mirror, not a quiet, watery mirror like Pisces, but a brilliant, golden sun mirror. Others look at you and are forced to see their own lack of light, their own lack of courage, and few are willing to truly face that. You aren't too much. You are just carrying the creative fire that others have let die within themselves. You are the catalyst, the one who holds on to their joy and through their sheer presence inspires or intimidates. You don't need to know what became of the one who envied you. You don't need to see them fail. You only need to know one thing: you never betrayed your own magnificent heart. You chose love when you had reason to be bitter. You chose generosity when you could have been selfish. You chose to keep shining your light even when no one was on stage to applaud you. And that is why the universe remembers your name. And that is why your reward is arriving in a way you never expected. Dear Leo, have you ever looked in the mirror and not recognized the king or queen in your own eyes? Have you ever put on a brave smile while your inner kingdom was crumbling? Have you ever given your brilliant gifts, hoping that something of equal value might return? I know you have doubted yourself. You once thought, maybe I'm just not good enough to be loved the right way. But let me whisper this with all the sincerity of the cosmos. No, you are not wrong. You are just a magnificent growing sun, and those around you were planets who couldn't handle your heat. You didn't come into this life to beg for love. You came to remind the world that love is meant to be a grand celebration, not a quiet compromise. Love is meant to be a creative act, a co-creation of joy. Maybe you've been hurt because you expected that from everyone, but it is also the very thing that has now become the key to attracting something truer, grander, and more worthy. There is someone, a guardian spirit, a noble ancestor, a royal guide from your soul's lineage, who has always been with you, not in body, but in frequency. Have you ever felt a sudden burst of creative inspiration that came out of nowhere? Have you ever felt a surge of courage just when you were about to dim your light? That was them. They held the crown over your head when you were about to let it fall. They fanned your flames when you no longer believed in your own fire. So, if you still remember a strange, majestic dream, a sign that keeps repeating, like seeing lions or suns everywhere, a flicker of golden light in a seemingly meaningless moment, share it in the comments. Not because I need to know, but because the very thing you write might become the spark of inspiration for another Leo who has forgotten their own royalty. Leo, you don't have to be perfect to be loved. You don't have to be right to move forward. You only need enough courage to never, ever abandon the throne of your own heart. Your soul is like the sun after a storm, not screaming, not thrashing, just powerfully, radiantly, and unshakably shining. And in that radiance, the whole world begins to reflect your light. I see you. You are standing on a sun-drenched hill, no one beside you, but you don't feel alone anymore. The sunlight warms your face, the wind feels like a royal cloak, and you place your hand on your heart, not to ask, "What do I do next?" but to whisper, "Thank you for still being here." And yes, Leo, you are still here. Not like before, no longer the old, slightly dimmed version, but a new, sovereign heart that walked through the shadows and never lost its magnificent light. Thank you. Thank you for not giving up, for choosing joy when you had every right to be bitter, for listening to your own creative spirit when the world was too loud, for loving in such a human and beautiful and grand way. If something in this video touched your royal heart, leave a symbol, a lion emoji, a sun emoji, a crown emoji, a whisper, a sentence you want to decree for yourself. It doesn't have to be long. It only has to be honest. It only has to be you. So I'll know you were touched, even just a little. And that's everything. Leo, your reward is coming. Not because you are better than others, but because you never betrayed your own magnificent heart, even when pain tried to teach you to. And I believe, from this very moment, all the most beautiful and glorious things have already begun to find their way back to your kingdom. Shine on.